Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Alex Driskell again from Sweet Georgia Sports, and there has been some really big news the past couple of days in Braves country as Alex Anthopoulos has been hired and officially named the new Braves starting GM. I know it's been a while since I've made a video. I apologize. I've been meaning to make one with all the stuff that went down with copy, but there wasn't a lot of good info out there to kind of consolidate it and make it into one good, concise video. But the Braves did hire Alex Anthopoulos. And with that being said, this is going to be the video to just talking about who Alex Anthopoulos is and what was said in the press conference. That way you know what's up. So just getting into some general info about Alex Anthopoulos. He's 40 years old. He's originally from Montreal. He got his degree in economics from McMaster University, which is a college up in Canada. He started out with the Expos in 2000 as an intern, and then he was promoted to the Expos scouting coordinator in 2002, and then was promoted to assistant scouting director in 2003, which was his last year in Montreal. Then after Montreal, he was hired by the Blue Jays as their scouting coordinator and then was promoted to assistant GM in 2005, where he and former Blue Jays GM JP Ricciardi started building a pretty solid franchise. After Ricciardi was fired in 2009, Anthopoulos took over as the GM. He continued to build the Blue Jays into a pretty solid contending club up until, or actually to the point in 2015 where they won the NL East title and then lost in the ALCS to the eventual World Series champion Kansas City Royals that year. And then in 2016, former president and CEO of the Blue Jays, Paul Beeson's contract expired, and Mark Shapiro was brought in that role. And only after 2 months of working under Shapiro, Alex Anthopoulos really didn't like him, and the feeling was kind of mutual between both Shapiro and Anthopoulos. Anthopoulos declined a 5-year extension, and then in January of 2016, Anthopoulos was named the vice president of baseball ops for the Dodgers, where he helped in the continuation of building the Dodgers into the powerhouse they are today. And just some notable players that were acquired and drafted by Alex Anthopoulos in his time in Toronto. This is a pretty solid list of players, and any team would be. I mean, this is a very solid group of players that I'm about to name off. So I'm just going to run through some names of notable players that were acquired and or drafted by Alex Anthopoulos while he was in Toronto. Jose Bautista, 2015 AL MVP Josh Donaldson, Edwin Encarnacion, Mike Napoli, Jose Reyes, Colby Rasmus, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, our homeboy R.A. Dickey, Troy Tulowitzki, David Price, Noah Syndergaard. He drafted Chris Bryant, but Chris Bryant didn't sign. Chris Bryant decided to go to college. I believe it was at San Diego, and of course now he's a superstar with the Cubs. He drafted Kevin Pillar, who's one of the best defensive center fielders in all of baseball. Aaron Nola, who is a pitcher for the Phillies. He drafted him out of high school, but Aaron Nola didn't sign, and I believe Aaron Nola went to LSU. And then in 2012, he drafted Marcus Stroman, who has developed in one of the better pitchers in all of baseball. And this past spring, if you didn't watch the World Baseball Classic, Marcus Stroman was wheeling and dealing off the mound for Team USA. And then in 2013, I believe, he drafted Daniel Norris, and Daniel Norris now is a solid young lefty arm for the Detroit Tigers. So, I mean, that is a very solid list of players that he acquired, whether it be through free agent signings or trades, and then, as previously mentioned, through drafts. I mean, he did a very good job at drafting for the Blue Jays and a very good job of expanding the Blue Jays scouting department as well during his tenure in Toronto. And so now I want to move on to some of the press conference. I actually didn't get to see the press conference. I was at work the other day, unfortunately, but when I got back home, I watched it through Periscope on Twitter, and it's about 17 to 25 minutes long. It's really not that bad of a watch, but it was him and Braves chairman and CEO Terry McGurk, who were up there. John Sherholtz was not there. John Hart was not there. Bobby Cox was there, but he wasn't up at the table with Alex Anthopoulos and Terry McGurk. But anyway, to start off, Terry McGurk first apologized to the fans about all the things that went down with copy and such. That's very good on Terry McGurk's part to apologize like that, and I really really like that. And then he went on to explain Alex Anthopoulos' role in Atlanta, and he said, quote, Alex will have full control of the baseball side of operations and will report directly to me, and me being Terry McGurk. And he also said that they signed Alex to a 4-year deal lasting until 2021, which ironically is also the year Freddie Freeman's contract expires. So we'll see how all that shakes out. Terry McGurk also, in his opening statements and such, said that John Hart will actually transition from the president of baseball ops to a senior advisor role and will not make daily baseball decisions. That's a fantastic decision, in my opinion, because if you haven't been keeping up or if you don't know, MLB found that John Hart didn't know anything about what Copy was doing in the draft and signing international free agents illegally, apparently, and that's just a bad look on John Hart because, one, he's either lying through his teeth, or two, that's just totally on him that he didn't know that all that crap was going on, and that's just a lack of awareness on his part because he's the guy that hired Copy. That was John Hart's protege, and for him to not know anything, that's just a bad look on John Hart in general. But moving on from that, going to move on to Alex Anthopoulos. Basically, what I took away, he seems genuinely excited to be here. He talked about the farm system ad nauseum. He absolutely loves the farm system. He said they're young and dynamic, which I totally and completely agree with. He just talked ad nauseum about the farm system, and then he addressed the pending sanctions, and he said, quote, the pending sanctions won't affect who I go to war with. And so with that means he's here for the long run. He's here through the good times and the upcoming bad times because MLB, or Terry McGurk actually said that MLB has been done with their investigation for some time now, and shame on you, MLB, for not actually giving us the sanctions and trying to keep like this high of Houston going on for the World Series. Shame on you for not giving us the sanctions and making us the fans wait, but also the former regime in Atlanta and now the new regime basically taking them hostage and handcuffing them. Shame on you, MLB. Just needed to say that really quick. And in short, again, Alex Anthopoulos seems very, very excited to be here and around the young talent, and that he's here through the thick and thin of the upcoming punishment and penalties and wants to win as soon as possible. He even said it. He said, we're going to get back to winning soon. As far as my opinion on Alex Anthopoulos, I really, 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 really love this hire for the Braves. I mean, he has a proven track record that he can build something like he did in Toronto, build us into a contender within the next 2 to 3 years. I really, really like that. He's also very young. Again, he's 40. And I've never imagined me saying that 40 was young. But anyway, that's besides the point. But he's young. He's analytically minded, which I really, really like. And he has full autonomy at the helm of the baseball side of the operations here in Atlanta, which I really, really like. The only concern that I have is that, yeah, he has a proven track record of building a good farm system, but also at the same time, he did kind of trade a lot of his prospects in Toronto for those names like that I previously mentioned. But he did build a contender, and he did build a contender, and I really commend him for that, especially in Toronto. But so again, in short, Alex Anthopoulos seems like he's really, really excited to be here. He's going to be here through thick and thin, and he loves the young talent here. And I think it was a home run hire by Atlanta. So that's going to wrap it up for the video. If you haven't already, sub to us, like us on Instagram and Twitter at Sweet Georgia Sports. Give this thing a give the video a thumbs up, comment if you want, share with friends and family. Tell us in the comment section, either on Twitter or on Instagram, how you feel about the Alex Anthopoulos hire. So with all that being said, again, I've been Alex Driskell from Sweet Georgia Sports, saying God bless and chop on, Atlanta.